EV affordability is a hot topic all over the world. And in the US, there's a lot of myths and misconceptions. Is it really still a rich man's toy? Is Tesla really cheap enough? You guys already know those answers, but let's jump across the pond and talk to Will from Tesla Jigsaw, who might have a thing or two to share with us about the state of EV ownership and buying in the UK. I'm Brian. Welcome to My Tesla Weekend. So Will has a great channel. It's called Tesla Jigsaw. We met last April, May at Fully Charged in Farnborough, England, where we hung out at the Tesla Owners Club UK booth, their big trailer they had for the event. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed the free snacks and beverages. And so I brought Will on because there's a lot of different models available in Europe that we don't have in the US. So let's talk about affordability. What do you got for us, man?
Hello. Well, yeah, I've made this massive, great list of the new electric cars that are available to buy in the UK. But the list that you're probably sharing on screen, the prices that you're looking at are not recommended retail price. These are the prices that you can actually buy the cars for from the dealers. So all of these cars are taken from a website called Auto Trader, which is probably one of the UK's biggest car buying platforms. So some of these prices you're looking at £5, 6, £7,000 cheaper than you'd see them for on their websites. So that's the sort of interesting point about this list. But I wanted to sort of gather I think I've got every electric car. There may be one or two missing here, but this is pretty much all of them. And then, from the start of the list, you're looking at a Citroen Ami, which is obviously not a real car. It's more like a Tykes car, isn't it, with a little tiny itsy bitsy motor in it. But then once you get to sort of the Vauxhall Corsa E, that's when things start to get a bit more exciting, because now you're looking at a car that's under £20,000, and I believe if you just if you add sort of 25%, you'll get the dollar equivalents, something like that. But this little Vauxhall Corsa now is under £20,000. It comes with a 222-mile range, which I don't think is too shabby. It's not bad. Yeah, and then
that's a real car. Now, what I will say to make it even easier for the U.S. viewers is when he says it's this many pounds, just think of it as that many dollars with tax, because these prices include VAT. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
So our sales tax is over and above. Just round it off and say it's pounds to dollars.
There you go.
It's close enough. So the Corsa E is a good-looking car. I imagine it's not the most luxurious fit and finish, but it's an economy car with north of 200 miles of range. In the UK, how many people have commutes in excess of 100 miles?
Well, in the UK, I believe it's something like 20-mile, round trip to work commute is the average daily drive in the UK. Plus, in the UK, we like our little cars. We've not needed these massive SUVs that do take up the road and Chelsea tractors in London or whatever you like to call them. But so it's these little models that we've been crying out for, really, these smaller ones. So things like the Fiat 500e, perfect little cars, and the excitement, the wait for the $25,000 Tesla. We cannot wait for a little hatchback version of a Tesla finally. And previous to that, we were waiting for the Volkswagen ID2.
Yeah.
The ID2. I mean, it was supposedly going to be coming. That would have been a perfect little candidate for Volkswagen to rush out to get to the UK and Europe. But you understand that's a little bit delayed. And then so we sort of go slightly further down the list, and we're looking at I thought a few interesting cars to point out. We've got the MG5 at £25,790, but that's the first electric estate that you can buy. I believe you call that the Tourer
Station wagon.
Station wagon, that's the one.
Yeah.
So and that's got 235-mile range and is very practical, and has also had a facelift recently as well. So there's an even nicer looking version than the slightly bland original version. But £25,000 for a pretty big usable car, and estates are pretty popular here too, or at least they were until SUVs took over, I suppose. And then we get down to the the first BYD. So at £29,990, it's the Dolphin, which comes with a 265-mile range, which I don't think is
265-mile range. Now that's on WLTP,
that's the one. So all of these are based on the WLTP range,
which is a bit more generous than the EPA rating. And people still complain about the EPA ratings, but you're going to get over 200 miles for sure in real life driving. And I think these all look pretty nice.
They're not bad, not entirely my taste. I mean, I think we've both did we see the BYD Dolphin together when we were at
I don't know if we saw it together. We might have walked over there, but the Dolphin I thought looked fine.
Yes, it was fine. That's about as positive as I could say about it. Really, it's fine. It'll do.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll become a classic that people are showing off in car shows in 20 years, but this little guy could. It's got some interesting lines that are kind of aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, the one I'm a little more excited is the one below it. So the £30,742, the Aura Funky Cat, which in the flesh actually looks really quite cool. I like this. I think it's really nice. I wasn't massively overwhelmed with the mileage of 193 mile range. Not very impressed for the price, really. But I think the look, I mean, it does the same sort of job as a Fiat 500e perhaps, or a Mini. It's got a funky look to it, and it is. So this is Great Walls Motors, GWM, who are the 8th largest automobile manufacturer in China, and they are targeting young buyers with this car. So that's the plan. Yeah. For them to try and attract a young audience, and I think they might get it because having sat in them, they're really quite cool and funky little cars. It's just this is hardly the we're not really being drowned by cheap Chinese cars just yet, are we? When the price point for the Dolphin or the Aura is £30,000. I mean, I know it's going to be coming in the future, but I was hoping these cars would be a lot cheaper, really, than where they sit today.
So I don't know. I don't think you saw the panel that Lars was on Sunday at that Farnborough presentation, but it was all about Chinese cars. And one of the gentlemen in the audience got up and asked, "Hey, I keep seeing all these stories about a $20,000 car in China, and then when it gets here, it's £40,000. Why is that?" And the panelist they had, who's the China automotive expert who lives in China and came in just for this, said, "There's a couple of reasons. One is it's not the same car. If you look at the BYD Seal versus the European spec versus the Chinese spec, it's literally a different car. It is built to a higher standard. The safety is better. Everything about it's better. And they're going with their highest option trims because they don't want to be thought of as a discount brand. And you've got all the shipping cost and the import duties if in many countries. And then, of course, you've got the dealer markup, which is something. There is a cost to that may not apply in the same degree in China. And once you add those all together, we may see more $20,000, £20,000 cars, but not yet. There needs to be more manufacturing efficiencies. So I'm going to pause real quick and say this list is so much longer than I realized. And I knew there were a lot of choices because I saw a lot of them at Fully Charged, but this list is extensive. It's extensive.
Yeah. It surprised me too, how many there is. I don't think this is an exhaustive list, and each one of these is just the base level trim for each of these cars as well. So there's many more versions of each car. But what I wanted to do really was see where Tesla now sits within this list. That's the exciting part. And so let's skip a few. We've got the next one was the BYD Atto 3 260 mile range again. Rather similar to the BYD. And then we get the Maxus T90 EV, which is a pickup truck. Did you know there was an electric pickup truck in the UK? I didn't until I found lots
Fully
of them
Charged.
Yes. Oh, he was there then. I must have missed it.
All the way in the back fence.
Yeah, it must have been there. I remember seeing an F-150 Lightning there for the first time, and there was a Rivian, wasn't there? So there was this one as well. And then we get to the Model 3 that is now £3,000 cheaper than it was. And, for the new and improved one, it's got a, rear screen and ventilated seats and all this extra bits and bobs. And it's got a 344-mile range when you look at those wheels and, you make sure you've chosen the 18-inch Photon wheels, I believe, which show the range to be 344 miles WLTP in the UK. That range to me, is incredible for the base model. And then it's not until, if you keep going down this list, it's not until we get to the Kia EV9 that we see more range from a vehicle, and that's £65,000.
Wow.
So that to me was quite astonishing. But to be a little controversial, can I do this? The Tesla Model Y on this list. Take a look at the Model Y and the price point, lovely, £45,000. Now the range, 283 miles. That surprised me somewhat, and here's the surprising part. The one next to it is the Toyota BuzzForks, as you brilliantly named it to make it memorable, finally, at £45,000. So the same price, but you get 317 miles WLTP range from that 71.4 kilowatt battery pack. So Toyota have got a smaller battery pack, yet they're getting more miles than Tesla's 75 kilowatt hour battery pack with 283 miles. What do you make of that?
Well, I make of it that the Tesla Model Y is using BYD Blade batteries, which are not exciting, but they are cheap. I think if you spent another £5,000, you would get the nickel metal chemistry, the proper lithium-ion batteries,
and then the long range.
The long range, and you would add 100 miles of range to it for not that much money. But I think it's because these are LFP batteries and not regular old-fashioned high-drain lithium-ion batteries. But that does surprise me. 283. There was a standard range. There was supposed to be a standard range Model Y in the US, and Elon canceled it because it would have had something like 220 EPA rated miles of range. And he said, I'm just not comfortable selling that car. I think it'll just upset too many buyers who thought, what a bargain, and then got it and realized this is not for me.
Yeah, a wise move personally. But when you do look at the Model 3, though, here against the Model Y, for £5,000 less, and you get a whopping, range from a smaller battery pack. It just, the Model 3 is just, the new Highland version. It's just blown everything out of the water, isn't it? It seems incredible value to me to be cheaper with that huge range. Very exciting. I still haven't seen it. I went to, I got an invite to the event the other day and I missed it.
I did see that video, and I thought that it was adorable that you said, I love free snacks. And I thought, isn't that what you get at work every weekend? But all right, whatever. It's interesting to me to see some of the ones on here that I guess it surprises me that the Mustang Mach-E is being sold in the UK because they're barely selling them here. Yeah.
See a few on the roads, yeah.
The BMWs don't surprise me. The Volvo, the Genesis, I'm less surprised, but just the length of this list is really, really encouraging. And apart from, of course, like you said, the Citroen at the top with its 8 horsepower, but that car is adorable. And I don't remember if I made a video about it or if I just included clips of it in other videos, but it's a really fun little, they're cool. They're cool.
I'd love a going one. Yeah, for sure. If I lived in a city, maybe it'd be perfect. All I've got is the vision of it going around that corner somewhere in Santa Monica or something. It just falls over and slides across the road. But it's a great little thing, I suppose. Oh, I didn't mean to leave the on the BMW 7 Series. I didn't mean to leave the word ugly next to it. They were just my notes. I should have got rid of that.
That's funny.
But that is the one with a very strange front.
Yeah.
But I think it comes with a few varieties of front grille, because some of them don't look so ugly as others, but there's some versions of it that just...
Yeah, there's some that look differently ugly, which is something that buyers can look forward to. Oh, I was just going to say that the thing with small cars in the UK is, in the US, when we were making muscle cars bigger and bigger, is when the Mini was really getting going. The what's the what is the three-wheeled one that Jeremy Clarkson loved to?
Robin Reliant.
The Robin Reliant.
Reliant
one of the
Robin.
one of the first spacefaring automobiles. If you recall that episode, they launched it on a rocket. It did not go well, which surprised me. But there are a lot of great little British cars, all the MGs. This is something that's a little bit in the DNA of the British automotive tradition, I guess. We did not have counterparts to those kinds of vehicles.
Well, they just suit our roads. We've got tiny little streets and towns and villages. I'm in the middle of Leicestershire, surrounded by countryside, and you go to these little wiggly lanes, and it's wonderful just to thrash around a little hot hatch. That's all I've done my whole life on motorbikes or in little I owned a few minis, Cooper S's and stuff, and it's such fun. Just 2 minutes from my doorstep. But even in a Tesla, to be honest, I mean, it's sort of too fast for these roads, and I've only got a standard range plus. You put your foot down on some of these country lanes, and it's you're there already. It's like, oh, where's the fun? Not saying I don't love it. I absolutely love it. But I do miss the little hot hatch idea. If Tesla was to come out with just a little, it doesn't even need to be as quick as the performance one, because the sort of roads that I'd enjoy driving around in country lanes, you can just push it to the extremes, and it's perfect.
I'll tell you what I hope to see from the compact, from the Tesla, is I don't need 300, 400, 500 horsepower. Anything north of 2 is fine. I want to see 200 miles of range, because I believe it's very doable. I want to see LFP batteries, because they're more affordable, use less exotic materials, easier. All the minerals are easily sourced and more sustainable. It'll allow for faster ramping. And so if you can hit those and the price, 200 horsepower in a small car, if you're complaining about that, stop complaining. And then, of course, all the usual Tesla bells and whistles, which aren't that expensive to put in. And the potential autonomous suite, which is something that you cannot opt out of, which adds a fair amount of cost, but it's marginal cost. The more units you buy of the FSD chips and whatnot, the cheaper they get. So those are the things I am expecting to see.
Yeah.
Question for you. With those roads being as small as they are, I've had a number of viewers in the UK on both sides of this debate. Is the Cybertruck too big?
No. No. I can't wait for the Cybertruck. I cannot wait to see one run through my street. Yeah, but we have vans, we have lorries, we have buses. They all use those same roads I'm talking about. It's just for driving pleasure, for thrashing around corners, which is perhaps more what we like to do. I mean, I used to just go for drives up to Scotland. I used to drive up to Edinburgh, hire a motorbike, and just go nuts around the country lanes for days. There's just such good fun. So you could do that with a Cybertruck. That would be just as fun. And believe me, that's definitely part of my dream ambition to get a Cyberlander inside a Cybertruck, probably a matte black one now, and just disappear to Scotland for a few days and make some videos. I mean, how cool? It's not too big. I mean, fun. It is too big to go into car parks. Yes, you won't fit it in multi-story car parks. It won't fit.
That's true of all vans and certainly all the major US pickup trucks. So I don't think those people worry about that too much. I worked at a facility once where we had a multi-story garage, 8, 9 floors, and people with their jacked up pickup trucks would be furious at us. They're like, they'd come to the site and they'd say, I had to park across the street at the bus depot. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Get a smaller car.
Yeah.
But
that's it.
So we've got a whole lot to still talk about, but the topic is too big. So we're going to come back and cover the rest of this in a day or two. And we're going to go into used EVs and pricing. We're going to go into market inflection points and a whole bunch of other great stuff. Do me a favor, would you guys? Will from Tesla Jigsaw here's got a great channel, and he doesn't have very many subscribers. And he's been on some big channels before. He's a regular on Now You Know with Zach and Jesse. You've been on Tesla Fix too, have you?
No, I'd love to though.
Oh,
That's an invite.
that's what I will make sure happens, because I think he's got some questions for you. So yeah, help out Will, and for everybody else, like, subscribe, do the usual things. You know what you're doing, and stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear from you, clever robots, momentarily.